Tribe Habits here, recording another voiceover for another training log, and we'll be going over the third of four weekly workouts. Yeah, I want to thank subscribers number 24 and 25. From now on, I'll be thanking any new subscribers. I just think that's a good idea for these intros. And yeah, now I'm warming up for my first giant set of the day, which will be bridge holds for around 10 seconds as warm-ups before I really open up my spine and I can access the range I want to work with during the session. And then I'll do my dynamics. And I'll be supersetting that for a giant set with neck work and some type of forearm work. Last time I did rice bucket for my extensors. Usually I do some type of extensors work. And excuse me. Today I'll be doing just some one arm hangs with some shrugs. And I'll be supersetting that with neck work as well. That's why it's a giant set. And for that, I'll be using a biting neck variation, which is the type of stuff I've been playing with recently. I just do some type of neck work of any sort, but neck wrestling, neck bridges, biting neck deadlifts, just some, I guess, neck curls with plates on your forehead. But today I'll be doing some biting neck twists for development of force in relevant range for force absorption when you're getting punched in the face, for example. So this is relevant for a lot of combat sports, contact sports, boxing, Muay Thai, MMA, it doesn't matter. It makes it easier to resist any force that would try to make your jaw rotate and in turn make your brain rotate inside of your skull. So yeah, I'm doing a couple of those. I'm just playing with these. This is one of the reasons I like to rotate these stuff that's not as relevant to me personally and to my goals, and that I'm just interested in for the general benefits, health benefits. And for example, I also ride a motorbike, so neck health and strength is relevant to me as insurance policy, you could call it. In case I fall, I'll be significantly safer, statistically speaking, just from having a stronger neck that can handle the impact and rotations and whatnot. So I just do these for such benefits, and I play around. I use these things just to have fun in my training, which is really important to make sure you stay consistent with it. So I just rotate around and use this time to figure out new movements, figure out how my body wants to move in this movements. If it moves a certain way, what am I biasing? If it moves another way, what am I pulling with, pushing with? How's it work? It's cool is noticing the difference in my neck musculature involvement, if I'm biting or if I'm not. All these things are just cool to explore with. Anyway, I move on to the little shrugs. I just hold my lat with the other arm for no particular reason. I just feel the feedback and it's useful, I guess. Yeah, just do a couple of these for no other reason than feeling like it. It's the same thing as the neck. If I can just rotate what I'm doing, I will on these things that don't matter as much to me, just because it keeps it refreshing, it keeps it fun, and it allows me to continue working on all the stuff that matters to me for a much longer period of time. This was the dynamics. I did more bridge walks. I'm focusing on bridge walks now for quite some time. I've been doing bridge walks for a year and something now, but I'm doing it consistently every week now, just to better my understanding of the movement pattern, because I want to be able to do bridge runs at some point, but these are so tough. And then I move on to my active flexibility work. I do a lot of active flexibility, but I rotate what I do depending on how open to more work my body is. So there's moments in time where I'm only able to do passive flexibility, and active will be only bridge work and Jefferson curls, for example. But right now, I've been feeling really good. I've lowered a bit of the volume on my squats, and I just feel more openness in my hips and lower body in general for extra flexibility work. So in this play date flexibility day, I've just added one set minus warm-ups, or plus warm-ups, I should say, of active mobility for different hip stuff. So yeah, now I'm doing these. I start with flying pigeons. These are so tough in your glutes. I mean, you can see it in my face, and it like via my facial expressions, you can see just how much tougher flexibility work for me is compared to strength work. Of course, strength work is so hard as well, but I feel like I'm more accustomed to it, so it just feels less straining, I guess. These are just so tough. Like by the end of the workout, soul was crushed. I gave everything I had, which is good. And, it's good to feel like you're truly exhausted. Like you just gave yourself a very good reason to go sleep afterwards. Now I moved on to some horse stance, open hips. Now loaded with 7.5 kilos. The floating pigeons weren't loaded. I don't think I need to load them yet. The horse stance, maybe I shouldn't have loaded them. I'm doing around 5 seconds of isometric contraction at what I thought was 90 degrees. My hips are a bit higher than my knees, which I'm not too happy with, but I am happy with how much of a straight back I'm maintaining. Now I actually just lost balance because of such a big focus in maintaining a straight back. So I'm not cheating, quote unquote. I don't want to good morning these horse stance holds. So 7.5 kilos felt, I guess, at the time, if I'm honest, I thought maybe I could go a bit heavier. But now looking at where my hip stands, I would like to go a bit lower before I started loading them heavier. And next time I'll focus more on that. My feet are rotated outwards for no particular reason other than that's just what felt like I should be doing at the time. And this is another thing I like about these less structured workouts, which this isn't the main bulk of my training, but it is an important part of my training where I just have the freedom to explore and to familiarize myself with my body further and further, because it's really important to understand, like, okay, doing this, how does it feel, and like should I hold here, like not always logically arriving at a conclusion, having space to just explore and let your body take you here, there, and feel the differences of doing it this way or doing it that way. Anyway, then I move on to the third hip stretch. I think most of you would know this as the fuck you hip stretch, and it really is just hip crushing. I mean, I personally feel it crushing my soul more than my hip, but it does crush my hip quite a lot. Loaded with just 7 kilos, and it's just hell. I try to do 20 seconds, but all of these things are counted in my head, so I'm pretty sure it wasn't 20 seconds. But it's okay. It's always 20 seconds, just affected by how much I'm struggling. I guess that's what I wanted to say. The other hip was giving me some sort of trouble. It was just hard to find what amount of rotation I wanted to feel my hip similarly to the right hip. So you'll see me continuously adjusting. This is not because I'm following, it's just because I'm playing with the rotation more and more to check what feels the best and also what feels similar to what I was doing for the other hip. And yeah, So for the last stretch, it's the W sit. And anytime I do W sits, I just think about how conditioned we are to restrain our own movement. And in school, they just teach you all the time, like sit this specific way, and they eliminate any sort of auto regulation any kid is trying to do just to keep the range the hips want to have. And it's just so sad. Okay, so now for this week's dose of somewhat cohesive scattered thoughts. Crossroads impose themselves in one's life multiple times without ever booking, throwing themselves at you regardless of your unpreparedness, and you must handle them. Whenever one of such face-offs occurs, a choice must be made, a leap of faith one way or another. Being sure isn't relevant. Pretending to be confident isn't relevant. Taking that leap is. Brace yourself, focus, and remember. Whenever you have to choose, as a rule, be yourself. Be legendary. You aren't living to be anybody else. The world just needs you. And even if it doesn't, you just need to be you. And if you would excuse some Portuguese to finish my thoughts on the matter, eu nunca vou ser tudo o que posso porque eu ando a perder tempo a ser tudo aquilo que quero.